Frank Dossler is an inspector in Los Angeles. He is a detective who is assigned to some of the more difficult cases. He's assigned to this case when this murder happens, and he goes in and starts to investigate and starts to uncover another world that's sort of layered underneath. I think Frank Dossler is somebody who has experience from his past. This is like a job that's almost a retirement job, meaning that he was coming from another agency. You know, so when he sees Brian's character, he recognizes pretty well the methodologies. And the methodologies for him equal that he's an agent, that he's an agent of some organization, and that now he has to figure that out in order to figure out the crime. He's a good guy. I mean, he's not corrupt. He's not, you know, he doesn't have a lot of anger issues or anything like that. He's more intrigued with his job and cares about his cases, and he's obsessed with it. He plays games a lot. You know, it's like he opens up a case and he keeps it with him throughout. He becomes obsessive. He plays chess. You know, he plays card, awari. You know. All these different games of strategics. And I think that's the one thing that he's really skilled at. And so it's fun that way. You know, it's fun to play a character that's thinking like that. Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is he goes in, he recognizes this guy's a special operative. Then he asks himself, if he is, why would he leave a knife with his fingerprints on it? Why would he have this woman's keys in his purse? Why would he be making the mistakes that an amateur would make? So it appears to him that possibly there's someone setting up this man. But still, in order to get closer to understand who those people might be, I need to stop him. And he is my only clue. He's my primary suspect, you know? And I have to find him. He fled the scene. He not only fled the scene later, he's caused a great deal of chaos, a lot of damage, collateral damage, you know? He's put weapons later with his team, on my men. So there's a number of things that he does that are wrong, no matter what, as a detective, whether he committed the murder or not. I like him. I think he is someone who actually takes in the whole, the human experience. He cares about the people that are across from him. He's intrigued with life. He likes to be challenged, you know. I liked all those elements about him. I think he's someone he's a highly intelligent man who is still capable of walking through the situations with some degrees of humility, and I think that's an interesting person to play, you know? And then when you put that, the other layer, the intrigue of who is this guy, what was he before, why does he know this, how does he figure it out, you know, when I get to play around with where he comes from, this is a fun character. Generally, I always like to be able to be challenged by a character, and the challenge usually comes in like entering new territory, you know, so I can learn something. You know, so in that case, it could be a comedy, it could be anything. It's just about my own small personal challenge that I usually create for myself as I'm working on a character or something that I recognize is a territory that I haven't walked in before. So that was one of the exciting things. I mean, I really loved taking one. The first time I saw that movie, the appeal was, I think, a human appeal, like him with his, you know, trying to save his daughter, you know, and saving someone that he cared about and loved. And that he had the expertise to actually do it. Because we always wonder, you know, if we're put in these types of situations, how we'll be able to fend for the people around us, you know, whether we'll be able to take care of them, protect them, keep them safe, you know. And you see that in the film, in this particular series. And then you see the expertise around it, which is also like a fascinating world to engage in and try to understand. And so I liked it, and then when I saw the second one that Olivier did, and he's about the wife and her abduction, and it's just an interesting series. And now, in this one, it feels a little bit more like a bit of a fugitive, like a split between fugitive and then ultimately taken, you know? Olivier, I really enjoy working with him. You know, he is, well, one, he's got a really open spirit, and so he creates a positive atmosphere. I think the set is infused with his like positive energy and his positive thoughts, and of trying to make a film and to enjoy the process of making a film. I find him to be deeply inside the process. One, because not only is he like directing the scenes with the actors, but he also is behind the camera a lot. So there's the intimacy that he has in like making the scenes move forward, you know. And then I find him to still be searching inside the scenes, like the scene we just finished, even that I did with Dugré was interesting, and he was like trying to get those little tiny specific moments that would paint the scene emotionally and stuff. So it's a nice combination to see this passion, this energy, this technical expertise, and also like a sensitivity to the emotional scene itself. Like this morning we came in and we went and discussed the scene. So we sat and discussed the scene, and then we went in and he's operating. I was anticipating that he was even going to come out on the tray, with the camera, because yesterday he was. We shot the scene where I discover where Brian escapes, and he was right there inside of the hole, like. I was like, how does he fit in there? I try not to like cross the two too much in my mind, although it's easy, you can't help but watch like the style as a filmmaker because it's unique. Like I say, operating and then having that intimacy with the crew and with the actors, and then the way he uses his Steadicam, the way the camera searches, the way it seems to be finding new things, the way he likes to sort of shoot opposite masters a lot. You know what I mean? Sort of coverage that he does on walks and certain things like that. You can't help it but notice a particular style. He has a very particular style as a filmmaker, and it makes me think. It's usually always two cameras. It's a Steadicam and him, and oftentimes he's not necessarily operating off of a tripod. Many times he's hand-holding the camera. At other times he's like going down the hallway, pushing a dolly, but not really a dolly. It's more like a skateboard dolly or a trolley, and then chasing behind the characters or chasing or running away from the characters in front. So he's done a lot of that stuff, and sometimes the Steadicam operator is sitting on more of a skate cam dolly, moving around. So it's got the mobility of the camera movement as well as the fluidity of moving on the floor quickly and seamlessly. So some of those things that he's utilizing in the film must make it very, very exciting when he cuts it together. No, I've never worked with Liam, and I had one scene with him. Actually, there's one scene where the water where he was running down the hall, but it's really the final scene that we have, which it was really enjoyable. I mean, I like his work. I like the movies that he's done, and I think he's great in this series. And I was really, excited to get a chance to do that scene with him. And it's very intriguing because in the end of it, I'm like, stick around. I got some other questions maybe. Dougray, I mean, I've got to do a few scenes with him, and I've enjoyed working with him. He's very engaged. A couple of the scenes were very emotional. I think the first one, we were, tearing apart his house, looking for evidence or looking for some sort of clue, and he was really thrown and emotional about that. And the scene at the morgue where he has to identify his wife. So he's been really, deep inside the character, and I felt he was doing some really great work. And as a person, I enjoy working with him. He's a good person, And I just got a chance to do a scene with him because today it's just that she's already dead, so I didn't get a chance to do any dialogue with her. I wish I had, but I did get to speak to her a little bit, and she seems like a really special person. So think of Luc Besson, even though I know Film Nikita, this film, I generally think of Le Grand Bleu, because that movie, The Big Blue, was really a special movie to me. I really loved it. I saw it on Champs-Élysées in Paris. I remember I just left Cannes, and I thought, wow, this is an amazing film. I talked about it for years, so that's kind of how I know him. I don't know him as a person. The movie takes him on a ride, but I hope that they see, inside of that fun, exciting ride, the family is the core still. I think inside of this ride, ultimately, it's about his wife and what happens to her, and about his daughter and what happens to her, or possibly could happen to her, and his friends. I think that's always like something to hold on to as you take a ride, as you watch this chase when I'm chasing down Liam's character throughout the movie. A step behind, a step behind, a step behind, but you never know, maybe next time.